So, today I want to talk about why compromise cost me years of my life and how I finally chose myself. There comes a moment in your healing when something just shifts, and it doesn't shift in a loud or a dramatic way, but it just happens in a quiet way. It's very deep and very unmistakable. And this is a moment when you realize that I know my voice now. I know what I want. I know what I need. And more importantly, I'm no longer willing to abandon myself to keep the peace. So today I want to talk about compromise. Not the healthy kind, but the kind of compromise that slowly erases you. The kind that looks reasonable on the surface, but costs you years of your life, your joy, your truth, your becoming. You know it if you've ever settled, tolerated, or silenced yourself to feel chosen. And if you know that, this message is for you. So recently, I noticed something beautiful in myself. I've grown into a woman who can hear her authentic voice clearly, and I can differentiate this voice from the anxious voice or the people-pleasing voice. And I can discern that is my true voice and not negotiate it away. So let me give you a simple example. So I've always loved these rustic wicker baskets. You know, the kind that are kind of like beautiful thing. I'll insert a picture for you to see. The sort you keep magazines in, tucked into a corner of your home. And the ones I want cost around like £30. And one day I walked into this big store here in England and I saw a plastic version of those baskets for £3. And immediately that old voice whispered, "It's January, be sensible. You spent money over Christmas. This is good enough." But another voice spoke louder. Even though it was more calm, it was more grounded. And it said, "You don't want this. You want the £30 wicker basket. Why buy something you already know you resent?" So I didn't buy either. And I chose to be patient instead of compromising. I applied that wisdom over sort of what could be reasonable self-betrayal, really. Like, come on, they're just wicker baskets, aren't they? And I chose to trust myself instead of having money fears. And when I walked out of the shop, I felt proud. Not because of a basket, but because I stayed loyal and true to myself. I didn't betray myself and buy something that I know a few months later I'll be like, why did I buy them? I'll be regretting why I bought them. And eventually spending money to buy what I want anyway. So you could be asking why this mattered. It's only a basket? Because that moment wasn't about the decor. It was actually about breaking a lifelong pattern in me. Because there was a time in my life when I always compromised. I compromised my needs, my dreams, my voice, my timing. I compromised my values and my held principles. I shaped myself to fit other people's expectation by being palatable, by being agreeable, by being easy to keep. She's a good girlfriend. And the cost. Yes, there was a cost. There is always a cost. Like years spent in relationships that just don't serve you. Like your dreams deferred, your desires abandoned, and becoming a version of yourself that slowly disappears. Of course, this happened to me as I didn't know how to stand in my truth and advocate for myself. I didn't trust myself and I depended on others for validation because I didn't believe I was enough. And underneath all that was fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear that if I said no, love would be withdrawn from me. So what did I do? I compromised. Compromise was kind of self-protection, even though it's harmful self-protection. I know I'm laughing, but it's like a paradox. So let's be clear. Not all compromise is harmful. If you're choosing between a red sofa and a green one, and the green works better practically, come on, that's fine. Same thing. If I bought the £3 wicker basket plastic ones over the £30 one, it would be okay. It's not a big deal. Nobody dies. But there are compromises that cut into your soul. Like staying with a partner for years who doesn't want children when you do. When they don't want marriage, when you would love to be married. Come on, those are big compromises. But we do it when they don't support your dreams, so you give up your dreams only to pretend to be happy with your life while knowing you are depressed, while it's sucking the life out of you to live a life that you don't want. Is that you? Well, I am speaking to you. Wake up, sis! In my case, I told myself, be patient. Don't ask for too much. Love means sacrifice and compromise. after all. But what happened? What eventually happened? They were fulfilled, their needs were met, their life moved forward. I became resentful. I became angry and very unfulfilled and eventually discarded. They moved on. That's the sad part of it. And I was left building my identity from the ground up. And the hardest truth, I repeated the pattern again because the wound hadn't been healed yet. You could be asking, girl, didn't you learn your lessons? Not when you're still carrying wounding and you are in avoidance. You're just going to repeat the pattern. Now, I want to talk about why I believe compromise is dangerous for people pleasers. And really, when I'm talking about compromising, I actually think there's certain people who should never compromise. So here's the truth many people don't want to say. For people pleasers, compromise is often disguised self-abandonment, leading to self-betrayal. So this looks like if you were raised to be agreeable, to avoid conflict, or you were sort of socialized and conditioned in a way that you carry guilt for wanting more, if you were raised to put others first to feel safe, and if you believe being liked and loved is safety, then for you, my dear one, compromise isn't neutral. It's a double bind. Think about it. People like us, we don't need to learn how to compromise more. We need to learn how to say no more without guilt, period. As people pleasers, we're the people who should learn to feel safe with disappointing others and to know reassuringly how to trust that what's meant for us won't require our erasure. Because if you default to compromising easily, you must know that your desires are not random. They are sacred to you. Because I really believe like deep soul longings, they exist in default compromises because it's like your invitation to trust something bigger about you, like that call to higher existence, to believe that you don't need to betray yourself to be loved. So when you compromise and you give in to what other people want, but you find that you feel hard done by, that's your soul saying, look, you deserve more. You can have more. Okay? So as I approach the end of this message, I want to say to you and I, maybe we had to lose ourselves to find ourselves. Maybe the pain and the disappointments after compromising were the teacher. Here's what I know now. You don't have to compromise your truth to be chosen. You don't need to betray your own values to be accepted. You don't have to abandon yourself to belong. You don't have to shrink to be loved. And this is why I created the Confidence Collective. It's for women who gave too much, stayed too long, settled too often, betrayed themselves for false promises, or even if you were promised something, but you betrayed yourself in the process. And you are now in a place of rebuilding your self-worth, confidence, and voice, plus aligning to your held truths. Because I've been that woman. I know how to guide you back to yourself. Easier said than done, but I'm here telling you as a recovered serial compromiser. I was a serial compromiser, yo. I know I laugh about it now, but really it wasn't funny. Especially when things just when I started to get the wake up call. Like, what is this that you're doing to yourself? It just wasn't funny. So here's what I want you to reflect on today. Where have you been compromising to stay safe? What desire have you silenced out of fear? And what would change if you trusted yourself just a little more? Look at where you have betrayed your own values and you now live with the pain and guilt of that. Your healing begins with loyalty to self, with self-loyalty. And to find freedom, you've got to return to self-love. A love where you don't betray yourself for love from anyone. If this message touched you, I'm Fatima, a confidence coach and founder of Faith, Fade and Enterprise. And I currently have coaching slots open. Whether you're struggling with people pleasing, self-expression, boundaries, or trusting yourself again, I also have free resources, which I'll link below. I have my confidence archetype quiz. I have a beautiful affirmations guide for Black women to help you rise again when hope feels lost. You can download all these for free. Don't wait. Do it now while some of them are still free. Let's start 2026 rooted, confident, and self-honoring. Links all down in the description below. If this resonated with you, I ask you to subscribe, share with a woman who needs it, leave a comment and tell me what landed for you. And remember, you are allowed to want what you want, and you are worthy of receiving it without compromise. And finally, I give you permission. Thank you for being here. Remember, subscribe, like, share, and let's become YouTube friends. Take care and bye.